Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Welcome back to another session of trading with the In the Zone Trader. Hope you guys have had a great weekend, a great Monday. Ready to rock and roll today. How are y'all doing? As we get situated here, we are going to be trading both the NQ and the ES. I know last week we focused just on the ES, but the way the market is up and about right now, the range on the ES is way too tight, so you have to kind of go to its more aggressive brother or cousin, what other family member you want to give to the two. They're both similar, right? And we're going to be trading the NQ and the ES. So the NQ is going to be on the top chart and the ES is going to be at the bottom chart. Good morning, Doug. I'm glad you're doing well. Happy to see you on here. We are going to be trading a little bit of a different system today. Really my old bread and butter system. And that system deals with trend lines and breakouts. And typically I would take the breakout candle right away after it gets triggered. But to minimize my risk and to present myself with better risk reward ratios, I'm only going to take a trade if I can get a 50% pullback on it, on the retracement. Yeah, it's good to see you on here, Doug. You're one of my number one viewers. I'm really grateful for that. Thank you. Thank you for joining. So let me tell you guys what I'm talking about. So here on this candle, for example, we broke through this downward trend line here. We didn't trigger higher, but had we triggered higher, that would constitute a trigger to go up, and the target would be 630. That's the one-to-one move, and my stop loss would be somewhere underneath here, right? 50% pullback is it triggers up, comes back down to the 50% retracement, which would be right here at 611.75. And then we go and try to hit 630. But look at how much better the risk reward would be. In this case, you would only be risking from 611.75 down to, let's just say, 604.75. So what is that, 7 points? You're risking 7 points to try to make 14 or 15. Much better risk reward. Now, never triggered. We didn't take it. Also, we probably wouldn't have taken it anyway because you could see the measured move here, the one-to-one, which is 200, is bumping up against the EMA right above our heads. So we're going to go ahead and delete this, but just showing you that's an example of what a 50% pullback would have looked like. Now we have a potential trigger to go down because we're breaking through this upward trend line, but look what's underneath us. We have 600, which is a potential area of support, and we have this bigger trend line from back here and this low here. So may not look to take it bearish either. I will say this, we do have news today at 10 o'clock, and it's red. It's JOLTS job openings and CB leading index month over month. I have a feeling that the market might be a little choppy leading up to that news event today. So we're just going to be more conservative with our entries. We'll try our best that way. Let's go ahead and take a look at the overall market. So this is the ES daily chart. You could see the level that was giving us a hard time last week. We finally broke through it. But then on Monday, and this is Friday's candle, Monday we closed underneath it. Today we're underneath it. So we're back at having this potential zone here being resistance. We do have this upward trend line like this, like that. So we could get a bounce off this upward trend line and go back up. I don't know. We'll just have to keep an eye on that. And then on the NQ daily, you guys remember I said, hey, our target for the bulls is going to be around 25,835. And that's exactly what they did on Friday. They hit that target, which was the high here from the 11-12 candle, and they took profits. We retested it yesterday, couldn't quite break it, slightly shy, and we failed. So if we want to continue this bullish Santa Claus run, we really need to break this level going higher. We probably need to also hold above the 21 EMA, and then let's look at the ES. The ES, the 21 EMA is right here at 6808. So I don't know what that constitutes for today's price action, but with the news at 10 o'clock, maybe we get increased volatility and get a push higher or a push lower. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. See, we have about 8 minutes before market opens. 9 minutes. You're going to see two accounts on the top left corner. One is going to be designated to the ES and one is going to be designated to the NQ. And then on the ES, I will be trading 2 minis instead of just one. But I'm also going to be looking for that 50% pullback. One other thing I also want to mention, I started doing this on my charts, but I am also marking the supply and demand zones. So this was... You can see back here from December 4th, the end of the day, this became a demand zone as we couldn't go below it, right? And we went above it, retested it yesterday around like 2 o'clock and went up again. And so I've marked it as a potential supply zone. So, sorry, not supply, demand zone. So what does that mean? It means that there's potentially a large number of buyers down here in this zone. So if the NQ happens to come into this yellow golden area, we could potentially see some buyers and it go up. The opposite is also true. If you could see up here, this is our supply zone. So this is a resistance area. If price comes up here, we might potentially see some sellers as well. Now we also know this area up here is very bearish because if we look on the daily chart on the NQ, let's go back to the daily. It's that same golden ruler level right there as well. So I've marked that supply zone. So we'll be cautious if we're not going to go long continually into the zone. And we're not looking to go bearish past this zone either. And then down here, we have a potential demand zone. I don't know if it's a demand zone yet. I just have it marked here. This is a low from yesterday. We can go further back in time. I guess it is, because we bounced off of it right there. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that as our potential demand zone, which is a bullish zone, meaning it potentially a lot of buyers are waiting for price to come into this area for them to buy it up. And then we have potential. This could be a potential resistance area up here, and then up here as well on the ES. So we're going to watch out for those zones, see how price behaves around that area. And then, how many minutes we have left? We have a little under 5 minutes till market opens. And we're going to try our best to stay focused. I think the last couple of weeks, it's been really hard to focus. And especially when you have two charts up as well. But that's the situation we find ourselves in. Like, I can't just trade one chart right now, because our setups are actually going to be a lot stricter. So the setups are going to be few and far between, but they're going to be higher quality setups. So I got to be really paying attention to both charts, which is easier said than done. And running a stream as well adds another layer of complexity. So I'm going to try my best to answer any questions you guys might have or any comments. I'm going to be primarily focusing on the charts today. All right, so you see this candle right here. This is a bearish breakout candle. This would be the potential signal. We would call this a signal candle, bearish, if it kept going lower, but buyers are buying it up right now. But let's just say it kept going down and it created a nice red candle here for us. We would call that a signal candle, and we would normally take the break of that signal candle lower for a one-to-one move, but I'm looking to see if it pulls back 50% and get that on a discount. That's the premise of what we're doing today. All right, so you see how this candle never closed below my trend line? It invalidates the potential breakout to the downside. And it never triggered lower either. Notice this candle broke it to the upside. So we go ahead and delete this line. And now we're potentially going to be drawing this upward. Good morning, Tola. Good to see you on here. Or I should say good evening to you. All right, we have about a little under a minute before market opens. I'm not going to look to take trades right out of the gate. Sometimes there's a lot of indecision right at 9:30. I'm going to try my best to follow all my rules today too. Which is easier said than done. I'm going to try my best. And not beat myself up if I make a mistake. That's really the important thing. Alright, so you can see this candle. This is the signal candle. This is the trigger candle because it triggered the signal candle to the upside. The target's up here at 634.05. See if we get up there. There it is. It hit the target. We're now testing the golden ruler. And now we actually triggered to the downside. Fix this. And there it is. It hit the target. I really couldn't take that right away. I think it happened a little too fast. And I also said I don't want to take trades right out of the gate. So I'm just going to wait. All right, we're getting that push lower. It'll be really interesting to see what we do in the zone. Do buyers really step in to this potential supply zone or not? Or not supply, demand zone. Let's go ahead and delete that. So you can see a little bit of a bounce here. You see that? Or are the sellers so strong we're going to keep going? Alright, there it is. We're buying off of that supply zone. Or demand. Sorry, guys. Demand zone is bullish. Supply zone is bearish. Yeah, ES is stuck at that 68.50 level, which, you know, you've seen it last week, Doug. It's a strong level, right? There's going to be... It's a battle zone for sure. Alright, let's see what's happening here. I might actually take this short. If it wants to come down. There it is. Oops, got me out. All right, so this demand zone is holding, and we're going back up, looks like. And then this was a bullish trigger here. But the target is above 600 and we had the EMA in place. So we would have skipped that trade anyway. Okay, we're going to adjust this trend line here. We have two trend lines that we're going to draw here. We're going to draw this micro trend line and we're going to draw this macro trend line. And you guys can see we're kind of stuck right now. This did trigger higher, but we have resistance overhead, so we're not going to take this. We are at VWAP on the ES. Underneath it. We did hit the target on the NQ, but it just wasn't a very good trade to take, you know? We'll go ahead and keep track of the runner on this one. It's right at break even right now. Delete this macro line. All right, the runner's been taken out. Draw some new lines here. We got this downward trend line like this, and we might have a potential signal right there. Let's see if we can get a 50% pullback on this guy. I'll probably take it right at 600. Oh, this guy might just go. That's okay. If it ends up going hitting target, that's fine. The target in this case would be the 200% level, 626.97. All right, it hit target. I'm going to go ahead and cancel my order. It does stink sometimes when you just take the order right out of the gate and it just works. That's used to be the way I traded. Problem is when it doesn't work, it really hurts, right? Like this move right here was about 18 points. I mean, that's pretty good. Little under $400 move. All right, we're approaching We're approaching VWAP on the NQ. We're above the VWAP now on the ES. And the runner is still running on the NQ. Our golden ruler moves down to 570.50. We have this beautiful upward trend now. Question is, can we get past VWAP and can we get past this bigger downward trend? You guys can see this bigger channel that we're in? All right, so testing VWAP right now. Haven't been able to get a good signal yet on the ES either. And technically, we're still in this bearish move from 5:39 a.m. on the ES that has not hit target. So I'm going to let the ES just kind of work itself out before we take any trades on the ES. Nice push lower here. This would be the trigger to go lower, but I can't take it. I have these support levels here underneath. We redraw our downward trend line. You could see this trend held, VWAP held, 650 held, lots of resistance up here. So we're in another potential, we're in this trade now. I mean, I'm not into it, but the market is. It triggered lower, but we have all this support underneath us as well. So we're kind of stuck in this pretty bad range between 600 and 650 at the moment. If you also look at the 5-minute on the NQ, you could see we're sandwiched in between the VWAP, the 21 EMA, and the 80 EMA. We're sandwiched in between these levels. All right, let's see if this actually has room to go to the upside. It does. I might take it here. Now, can we get 15 points to the upside or not? We might get stopped out here. Yep. All right. It never technically triggered higher, but I was okay taking it right here above the EMA. I guess we're still technically in this bearish move I forgot about. You normally don't take another move if we're still in the original move lower. I completely forgot about that. So that's my bad. I made a mistake there. But like I said earlier today, I'm going to be forgiving of myself if I make mistakes. Just a pretty nasty range that we're in right now. Now, what's interesting is, check this out, guys. We have this candle that triggered lower, right? It retraced literally to the 50% and kept going lower. Can't make this stuff up. We do have a bullish trigger here, but again, I made the mistake of going long when we were originally going short. All right, we might get a potential setup here on the ES. Let's see. Very small risk. Very, very, very small risk. We're getting the bounce on the NQ. Can we get the bounce on the ES and go up? Especially because we're at VWAP. The answer is no. All right. It's definitely a battle zone. All right, so we're still in this bearish move on the NQ. And we triggered higher on the NQ here as well. It's just there's a lot of mixed signals. You guys can see a little bit about that, right? We are in an overall downward trend line. We're still in this bearish move. It still hasn't hit target. But 600 is a level of support. And this trade would have worked for me if I just didn't get stopped. I got stopped out by a tick. It's okay. Yeah, it worked. We might just have to wait for the 10 o'clock news to get out of this. Very, very choppy right now. Our golden ruler on the ES moves down to 68.55.50. Runner still running on the ES bullish move. Okay, we're getting a bit of a pullback here. All right, we have 2 minutes till the news anyway, so we're going to see what's going to happen at 10 o'clock. Okay, there's the 10 o'clock news. Alright, we might go up and retest VWAP again. Happens to be where the target of this bullish signal is. We're still in that bearish trade as well. This is why it's made things a little more complicated. Then we have this really tight wedge here on the ES down here. Alright, so we pretty much hit the target on the bullish side. There was a part of me that wanted to short it right there at VWAP, and it would have worked. but I'm trying to follow my rules today. All right, so bullish trade is over, bearish trade has stopped out. Let's redraw some new lines, shall we? Golden ruler also moves up, changes our upward trend line. Runner is out. Okay, this triggered lower, but we have VWAP right underneath us, so. All right, the runner is out on the ES trade. Okay, target hit. Again, all these setups have been really marginal. We haven't really been able to capitalize on any of them. Okay, this is actually a really good setup on the ES. Going bearish. So close. We're 2 points away from the target on the ES. See if we can get that push lower and retest VWAP. Come on, you're right there. All right, boom. That's $400 right there. I don't know why I didn't take it off on the other charts. There we go. And then the runner is still running on this NQ trade. Runner's been taken out, so we can draw this line now. This is false positive trigger to the upside. We have VWAP in the way. Let's just see how it behaves. I mean, technically, the ES never hit its target either. We're still in this bearish trade. I could go back into this trade, but if you look at the ES 5-minute, you could see we're kind of bouncing off of this 8 EMA here. So let's go back to the NQ. But so you can see this is why it's kind of stuck down here. And then the NQ is stuck because we're stuck between an EMA and the EMA is underneath us and VWAP overhead right here. So does not make for very good price action. All right, looks like the ES actually does want to come down and hit its target and retest VWAP. All right, we have quite the battle zone. Golden ruler is holding here. All right, so we have this bullish trigger here, but we have 650 and VWAP overhead now. Might just give it a little bit of a go here, see if it wants to do it, but I don't think this is a very good trade. See if it wants to come up. Yeah, that was a pretty lousy trade on my part. I think we lost like $100 on that trade. Alright, this triggered higher, but again, we're kind of stuck in the zone. See if the 1 minute looks any better. Not really. Wow, if you look at the 1 minute chart, doesn't that just look ridiculous? Cannot get above VWAP. Interesting. But look at what's underneath us. We can't get below the EMAs either on the 5 minute. So just kind of sandwiched in right now. This is building a lot of pressure. So something is going to give at some point. All right, we finally hit the target on the ES to the downside. That trade took a long time. That trade took about 17 minutes to work. Wow. All right, so the golden rule is up here on ES. My runner is going to be at break even on the ES. Well, it finally broke above the VWAP on the NQ. Let's see if we can get some more bullish momentum here. We hit the target on this trade here. Runner's going to be at break even. Go ahead and delete this line. Delete this as well. So you can see on the 1 minute, we're finally getting that breakout, right? Do we get continuation though? Is the question. All right, our runner moves up. Something has got to give, right? Let me check the volume real quick. The volume's still pretty good. Okay. Runner is out. Runner is still running on the ES trade. Okay. All right, we can redraw this line here. This is the bigger macro trend line. And then we're gonna have a micro trend line like this. We're stuck right back where we were, underneath VWAP. I just want us to get out of this range. I think as soon as we get out of this range, you start seeing a little bit of flow. Let's look at the 15-minute chart. And we're actually also in the 15-minute. This is the 15-minute opening range right here, this candle. We're approaching the high there. I think we're actually making some movement now, so let's go back. So this trade actually worked and hit target. Delete this line. Runner is at break even, which is also right at VWAP. Let me just move it slightly higher here. All right, good. We're getting some bullish momentum now. That's good. New upward trend line on the ES. Continuation on the NQ. All right, so we have don't have that look yet. But we do have this trend line look here. All right, so we have two potential bullish trades that might develop here. This is developing to be the signal candle to go higher. This might do the same thing here if we can go higher on the ES. So let's zoom in on this one. Okay. Want to buy it at the 50% pullback if it wants to give it to me. Almost. There we go. And then go ahead and buy it here. Stop loss. That stinks. I might be getting stopped out on both trades. This was a really great setup. Just did not work. Did not work. Golden ruler moves down here on ES. We're not taking this bearish signal because of the VWAP. But we will be taking this signal here. We'll add to it here. Okay, let's go up. Let's do it. All right, we definitely need to get a bounce now. This is getting kind of ridiculous. All right, I'm liking this push. Can we go at least get my first target off? Man, this thing is struggling, guys. Oh, we need VWAP to hold, essentially. This is ridiculous. Okay, let's keep going higher. Come on. Wow, it's doesn't want to go past. All right, I'm moving this to break even. I'm done with this trade. I would ideally like it to go up now, but if it takes me out, it takes me out. I'm done. This trade is not looking like it wants to work. It worked. That stinks. Well, this is how emotions gets the better of you sometimes. What can I say? But you guys saw how it's kept struggling to get past this level. That is frustrating. Very frustrating. Yeah, the price action hasn't been clean. Like you see it, like it triggers in the direction we want it to go, and it just stalls. It stalled for, let's see, 10:33 to 10:40. It stalled for 7 minutes, and then it went. That is very frustrating. That move would have put us green on the day. There we go. At least we're moving up, I suppose. Okay, we're getting a bearish trigger. We have the EMA right there. We can't take it. So we're just going to let it play out. I might try to take a bullish trade here, bounce off VWAP. May not work. Yeah, my timing's been off today too on a lot of these moves. If you look at this, like, we're finally getting the bounce that I was looking for. I was just in a little too early, I guess. Okay. This is going to be a trigger higher here. Ideally, I would like for it to stop growing. I don't want it to be a huge candle. Come back and get us. Okay, well, got that trade to work, got this trade to work. Combination. Actually, this is all real money, actually, Doug, at this point. But there is a few accounts that are qualifiers. So yeah, combination of the two. Yeah, I am copying some of the trades. Golden ruler moves up here. Runner goes up as well. We'll probably be making our way to 700 at this point. All right, we'll see if 700 is going to act as resistance or not. We are trying to fill the gap at this point, I guess, on the... This is where we closed yesterday on the futures at 5 p.m. Eastern, up at 707.25. All right, runner was taken out here on the ES. Just got a bearish signal, but we got these support levels underneath us. We're going to run into the same situation here with the NQ. Okay, I'm going bearish here on the ES. I'm at a zero risk trade now. You'd love continuation going down, just like we're getting that continuation lower on the NQ. All right, we're almost at target here. Boom. All right, I think that was like a $200 or $300 trade right there. So my ES trades today have been working a lot better than my NQ trades. All right, so we have on the NQ a potential bearish trade if we can break this upward trend line here to the downside. Oops. We also have a potential bullish trade. So there's a potential for either scenario here. So we're going to keep an eye on this. All right, this is starting to look a little bit more bullish. I just need to have the measured distance needs to be less than the measure move needs to be less than the 700. Which so far it is. So we're going to focus on this. This is the setup that we're going to be taking. We're going to try to get 2 contracts off of this one. Okay, we got 2 contracts in. Our goal is 95.50. Can we get that push higher? $95.25 is really the appropriate. Okay, let's keep going higher. Only after a certain number. I don't just have it automatically trail, Doug. I have it starting to trail after 10 points. Otherwise, I'm going to get chopped up all the time here, right? You can set it up for whatever number is appropriate to your strategy. But since my target here is under 10 points, I don't have a trail. Either I make it or I don't, right? And I'm going to go ahead and move it right here. It almost hit my target missed it by a tick. All right, we got it. We got it. So that was like a $320 trade right there. And we're finally green on both the NQ and the ES trades today. That's good. One tick ticks me off. That's right. Maybe that's why they called it a tick. I don't know. Or maybe because it's such a tiny increment, like a tick. I don't know. That's the funny thing about the English language. One word can mean many different things, right? I'm going to try to get back into this trade again. Technically didn't hit his target, so. I'll go ahead and move it to slightly above break even here. Zero risk trade. Would like for it to go back and revisit that high. And if it doesn't, stop out. It's okay. Worth a try. Alright guys, I think I'm running out of steam here. I'll be back tomorrow, same time. There were some frustrating trades. There were some trades that should have, if I would have held on, would have worked on the NQ. We would have been up maybe $300 or $400 on the NQ right now. But that's okay. That's trading. Sometimes you let your emotions get the best of you, or sometimes you decide to get out. I need to work a little bit on that, but I don't know if it was fear. Maybe it was, but I just saw hesitation there and I decided, you know what? I'll just take the trade off. I think you guys know what trade I'm talking about. It was back here. It was this trade right here. We got the signal higher and then it just kind of hesitated and finally hit its target. Yeah, the ES hit my goals. That's correct, Doug. So that's the nice thing about trading two separate charts too. You don't have to, you can hit it on one and not the other, you know? But anyway, I hope you guys learned something. I'll be back tomorrow, same time, 9:20 a.m. Eastern. Hope you guys enjoyed this. And I'll take that as a win. Yes, victory for today. And always a pleasure being with you guys. We'll talk to you guys soon. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.